I think the last few guests we've had on have been really either informative or inspirational, or both. I mean, Matt's story. I sent Matt a message after that, and I just said, like, because we were having a bit of a chat and all of that, and then he told us the story behind what he did with Aconcagua and how horrible it was that first time, and how he conquered that, overcame it, and then went back again. And I was just mesmerized. We just sat there in silence, and he just talked for ages. But I just, like, usually he'll come up with questions and all that, but I was just like, I'm not really thinking of questions. I just want to listen. I want to hear what happened next. And something that I thought about when I was listening to him, and I thought the same. This might sound a bit weird, but I thought the same when I was listening to Helen as well. Is that he posted his story of Aconcagua and his journey and that all over Instagram. Helen's posted her journey with menopause and perimenopause, and then like coming towards the menopause and stuff like that, all over Instagram. But you still don't get what they went through. You can't come to terms with what it actually is and what it does and what they went through, and, like, how close Matt came to pretty much come to death and what have you, and how down Helen was, how she said she left the house that day nearly and didn't think she was going to come back. And that just made me think that it's one of those things. You see all these things on Instagram, and people compare themselves to other people on there and stuff like that, and think like, oh, they're having a great time and they're always happy and all that. And it's not the case. It's not the case. So it just got me to thinking that was a big realization of how these things can be skewed, and not skewed by putting out funny content. It's just skewed by your own brain of, like, these people seem to be doing this all the time and all that. And it's like, no, these people are testing themselves. These people are pushing themselves. And in Helen's case, she's going out and learning as much as possible to help her have the best journey through this thing that she's going to have to go through anyway. So it was really interesting.
I think I was just going to say, I think because Instagram almost gives you the headline, doesn't it? And it gives you the headline on the front of the newspaper. But what I really like, and what I've really enjoyed is when you've actually got, an hour, or in some cases more than an hour, to sit down and really talk to people. That's when you really get the kind of in-depth understanding and the nuance, and you actually get to, ask questions and find out what goes on behind it. Because, like you say, Instagram or social media, people scroll, and you've literally got a tenth of a second to catch someone's attention with a headline or a picture, haven't you? And that's why I really like these hour-long conversations, that you can really get to the bottom of people's motivations and fears, and all the training that goes in behind the scenes, and all the work that goes in behind the scenes, to give you probably a deeper understanding and a greater appreciation of what it takes for people to do some of these things that we just see on Instagram and things.
I think
that'll be a good thing to talk about in a bit as well, like, because we're going to talk about our goals for next year and what have you. And we've all got as far as I know, we've all got pretty lofty goals, and it's not going to happen in an Instagram post, is it?
They were both quite willing to lay out the journey with all its warts, because it's quite easy to see yourself as quite, for someone else looking in, and Instagram's a great example of this. So you can just post what you want and what you want people to see. So there's a high level of curation there. So it certainly takes someone who's extremely confident and someone who understands someone else's perspective to take them through the kind of challenges that got them there. Because, Matt could quite easily have just said, yeah, I went up there, I was a bit of a boss. I did it great. I did it in this time, and we had a great laugh, and I had all the gear, and I did all the training, and and he made himself picked himself up. But actually, what he said is, like, I made some fundamental mistakes here, and I'm quite happy to admit that I probably feel a bit foolish in retrospect, but I'm kind of happy to tell you so you don't make those mistakes yourself.
What he did say, which I thought was really, really good of him, and it really shows. So this will go with what Chet was talking about as well. about like your values and all that. And it really shows that Matt has looked at himself and everything is, you know, he went up there a bit arrogant, didn't he? And him and Rob from Commando Temple and that, they said they smashed it to base camp in record time and got there. And they were like, right, brilliant. And then they all got massive headaches and they were knackered. But they thought like, no, we're all fit guys. We can do this. You know, Rob was in the Marines. You know, he's done the what's it, the Marathon des Sable or whatever it's called, the one across the Sahara. You know, so he's pretty fit guy, but it's totally different. You know, desert's different to mountains, which is different to oceans, and all of that sort of stuff. So I thought that was really good. And like I say, that fits with what Chet was talking about like values and learning about yourself and the people who you want to work with and who you want to be and all of that sort of stuff. And Matt has obviously done it, and we see this and we know this because we know him, but he's done a lot of work on himself. So he can admit that. And he's like, look, I was a bit arrogant and I made a mistake. So in retrospect, he'll not do that again, will he?